Good afternoon everybody. So today I'm going to show you how we are doing a failover. Earlier in my video I've shown you the switchover steps, and failover is also pretty easy. Believe me, it's pretty easy when it comes to failover doing with an 11G physical standby. So let's start here. So as you'll see, this is my standby physical the primary database. Let's see the details. Yeah, so that's my primary, and if I see, yeah, so that's the standby. So here is my primary database running with maximum availability mode, and a standby is configured that is also maximum availability as a protection mode. So just to see if it is applying the logs or not, apply status.sql. Let's see, the latest sequence that is applied is 75, and let's see what sequence. Okay, so that's right. So the next sequence to be archived is 76. So just to see if it is working throughout fine, let's do a switch of log file. Okay, so as you can see, the RFS is working on the standby, and you will soon see, yeah, here it is. Yeah, so that is, recovery is done. In fact, let's see now. Yes, so 76 is already applied. So now we have a primary database that is inconsistent with the standby. So what happens in failover? Failover means your primary site is destroyed, and then you have to make available your standby database as primary to the production environment. So in our case here, our primary is available, it is in sync with the standby. So here in order to move ahead, before we do a failover, let's try to ensure that we can reinstate our old primary database as standby once we do a failover. That's necessary because in that case, if I do not ensure it, I would have to create the standby again once my new standby is failed over to primary. For doing that, I would ensure that flashback is enabled on both primary side and the standby side. So let's check it here. Okay, so I forgot actually flashback on, sorry. Okay, so my flashback is enabled here on the primary, and it's enabled on the standby site as well. Okay, now the failover is pretty easy. In fact, if you follow the steps and if you see the cascading output on the right side of the windows, which are alert log for the primary, and this is the alert log for the standby, you will exactly see what is actually happening when I issue the statements for failover. Okay, so let me now start the failover steps. So actually the failover, what happens is, it's only the steps are done only on the standby. So before that, what I do is I'll shut down about my primary site. So I've shut down about the primary site. So you'll see on the standby immediately the RFS process, it says possible network disconnect with primary database. So think of it as your primary site is not available anymore. So now we are available, or we are left with only the standby site. So what we'll do is we'll initiate the failover step. So first we'll cancel the recovery. Okay, so now the recovery is cancelled. If you'll see, the MRP is down. Now I'll initiate a command which tells me, or which tells the environment standby database that the primary is no more available. So this finish command will actually apply whatever logs that are available, redo logs that are available, and it does simulate a switchover to primary, switchover to standby on the primary side. It's just simulating that, because it is going to create a end of redo record, and you will see the terminal recovery somewhere down in the standby alert log file. So let's scroll up the alert log file here. Okay. As I said, it has created it has created an end of record and end of redo record. So you'll see the terminal recovery is happening here, and the sequence is 77. So whatever sequence was available, or whatever redo log was available, it started recovering that using the MRP process. So you see, identified end of redo for thread 1 sequence 77, incomplete recovery is done, media recovery is complete. So terminal recovery is successful. Now after that your database will try to connect to the primary database, I mean the standby now, which has to be the standby according to the parameters that you have specified for log archive test. So you'll see it tries connecting with it, and it is no available parameters available. Now we'll try to open this database as primary. So again, we have already checked that your statement is finished. So what we'll do is we'll see the switchover status here. Okay, so as we do in switchover process, so this time we'll execute this statement here: alter database, recover, manage, standby, alter database, commit to switch over to primary with session shut down. Okay, now you see here I have successfully switched over to primary. Now I'll open it. Okay, here you go. So now this database is failed over to primary. Select, let's try to see the database details. Okay, now I have a primary database. The protection mode is reduced to maximum performance. That's how Oracle does it. And now we have a primary database failed over. As simple. So at this state of time, we are running unprotected because we don't have a standby, because our old primary was destroyed, and we have to fail over to a new site that we have switched over to primary. Now here it's available for production, but still it is unprotected because we don't have a standby. So how about reinstating old primary as standby? Yes, we could do it quite easily. So let's check how we can do it. So let's execute a statement here. So the SCN standby became SCN, but it is to check it. Yeah, so this is the field that I'm looking forward to. So let me check it. So you see, if we fail over to this sequence SCN, if we fail over to this SCN, sorry, on the primary, we could do it quite easily. So let's start up mount. You don't want to open it because you don't want your apps to connect to this old primary, so you just open it, sorry, mount it, and then I'll do flashback to SCN, flashback to SCN, this one. So you see, now flashback is done. I'll just alter database. Okay, now one step that I've missed is I have to convert it to physical standby. Okay, now I've successfully converted old primary to physical standby, and now I can launch the recovery command. Okay, it is not mounted. Okay, now I'll launch the recovery command. So MRP will actually identifies the terminal recovery redo log that was 77, I guess. So it does some clearing of log files. You see, now media recovery complete until the 77 sequence, that was the terminal point at which the failover happened. So what we need to do is, now we need to again reinitiate it. Okay, now we have a primary that is again connected to a physical standby. So just to check it, check all the details. So we have a physical standby with maximum availability protection mode, and we have a primary that is having maximum availability. Now it's maximum performance. So what we need to do is, okay, now we are good here. That's right. Okay, so resynchronization is taking place. You see the sequence, the Oracle has reset the sequence as it does in reset logs case. So in this case, what we should say is select sequence number, archive _log. Okay, more correct way, in fact better way, is to check with the auto by completion time. Sequence number, status, applied, and end of redo. Okay, let's see the output. Okay, so it's not yet applied. It's, I think, will be applied very soon. So you see the alert log files here. Okay, Now I think we have to do switch off unlock file so that it starts applying, I guess. Only then it will do it. Okay, now you see it does some checks, and now sequence 5. Okay, let's see it here. Yes. Okay, after the terminal point, recovery is not yet started. Let me start again. Okay, so let's see what's the status now. Let's check the status. Oh. Okay, great. Now you can see so the next sequence to be archived is 5. Let's do a switch of log file and let's see if it gets applied here. Yes, you see the 5 sequence is getting applied. So that's how it is done. So in this video what we've seen is we have seen standby failing over to a primary, and then we also showed you how to reinstate your old primary as standby so that your environment remains protected. Thanks guys, enjoy.